Greetings, Victorians, and welcome to Update 1.8. Releasing for free alongside Pivot of Empire, Update 1.8 will contain a wide array of mechanical updates, bug fixes, and new content. So let's dive in. Ideological forces, or as we like to call it, the political movement rework. Political movements will no longer be spontaneous and temporary demands for a single legal reform. The new political movements can be found here on the Politics UI. Delving further in, we can see that the peasants movement here is currently pressuring the rural and religious interest groups. Their core ideology is land reform, but they also support taxation reform. And instead of exerting influence directly on our interest groups, we can suppress or bolster an entire political movement. Here we can see the Pashtun National Movement, which is a minority movement whose core ideology is based around citizenship for that minority. And here we can see the Inverse Majority Movement, the Sikh Supremacist Movement, whose core ideology is about keeping the status quo. Another thing to note is that radicalism has been renamed to activism. Activism will always be represented by your current activism and your target activism. Our current activism in this instance is 1%, and our target activism is also 1%. The target activism is an aggregation of all the modifiers seen here. Your current activism will always try to reach your target activism over time. Activism is also capped at 100%. So instances like this, where the aggregate is higher than 100, your target activism will still max out at 100. Discrimination is another updated feature in Update 1.8. No longer a simple binary yes you are or no you are not system, discrimination is now based on the level of acceptance each pop has. Ranging from 0 to 100, every 20 points of acceptance will raise a pop up to the next discrimination tier. Here we can see all the positive or negative status effects that will affect anybody in this tier. We can also see which pops belong to that tier. Here in the Culture tab, we can see a breakdown of each culture in our nation and how much acceptance each of them have under our current laws. Religion will also impact the level of acceptance. For instance, someone of a secondary culture but a primary religion would still be in the accepted culture class, and vice versa. And for some areas, there is also the new caste hegemony set of laws. In this instance, all Brahmins working these jobs will always have plus 80 minimum acceptance, guaranteeing them a seat in the accepted tier. Seizing the means of production just became easier with the new bulk nationalization button. Head to your building registry, use the filters to select which buildings you would like to nationalize, and click the button. It is as simple as that. Dynamic naming is the name of the game. Many locations will change name based on the culture of the owner, but there are also other historical events in the game that will change the names of locations. You can now fully customize your states and change the names of all the hubs and the states themselves. Military assistance is a new diplomatic action you can take. Offering military assistance will increase the cost of military goods in your country, as well as giving you a boost to weekly experience gain. The receiving nation receives a decrease in military goods cost, even more weekly unit experience, a boost to training rate, power block leverage, if available, as well as a bonus to military tech spread. Famines and harvest conditions have also been added to the game. Here we can see a visual representation of a wildfire spreading in the Punjab region. Harvest conditions will always have an intensity, indicating how positive or negative the effects will be, and a duration, which can last anywhere from a few months to several years. The harvest condition map mode will show you all of the harvest conditions, positive and negative, across the planet. You can also sort them by intensity, duration, and the number of states that are affected. Here we can see the wildfires in the Punjab hills are lingering, so they are almost done, but they do affect a very wide array of states. We also have a new food security tab in the Markets UI. Here you'll be able to see if there are any ongoing famines, how much and of which food types are being consumed, if you have any active harvest conditions, and if any of your pops are currently starving. Companies have also undergone a small change. When establishing a new company, 5 levels of the appropriate buildings will be transferred to the ownership of that company, whose portfolio will consist of those 5 buildings. Company headquarters can buy multiple types of buildings. Here we can see that Krupp not only owns several steel mills, but also an artillery foundry. You will also be able to see visual changes such as the building headquarters and billboards for your companies appear on the map. Tons of new narrative content has been added in patch 1.8. You'll be able to find new characters, events, journal entries, and more sprinkled around the Indian subcontinent. Deploying your military is easier now. You can do so directly on the map with some simple clicks. And finally, the entire Indian subcontinent has seen an overhaul with changes to states, cultures, tags, and more. There are many more small changes in Update 1.8. You could read all about them in the changelog linked below. Thank you for watching and enjoy Update 1.8.